OpenAI, the owner of ChatGPT, is reportedly seeking a $1 trillion valuation. That's bigger than most countries' GDPs. I'm Josh. I have almost 2 decades of experience in the software industry, from writing code to leading companies, and I have never seen anything like this, right? This is insane. I was going to make a video today on OpenAI's restructuring from a nonprofit to a for-profit organization, but then they go and they drop even crazier news. So according to this article, OpenAI, which is the company that runs ChatGPT, is looking to IPO. And that's pretty big news on its own, right? But what's crazy is the number, the dollar value that they're looking to pin the company to. OpenAI is looking to IPO at $1 trillion. And I cannot impress on you how insane that number is. That is bigger than most countries' GDPs. That would put it somewhere around the 20th biggest country in the world, depending on the measure you use, right? Whether it's the IMF or the UN or the World Bank, but generally it would be bigger than most countries in the world. So OpenAI is the company behind ChatGPT, which is the biggest, or at least most popular, AI, or LLM to be more accurate, and that means large language model. And you probably know it, depending on your age, either from doing your homework for you or from diagnosing your medical conditions. Anyway, OpenAI started in 2015 as a nonprofit, and it was backed by people like Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and a handful of really top-tier Silicon Valley tech people. And its mission at the time was supposedly to ensure that artificial intelligence benefits all humanity. TBD on that one. Anyway, a while ago, OpenAI started to transition away from a nonprofit company. Effectively, nonprofit is saying they're only interested in the research, not the money. And they transitioned over to a for-profit org structure. Okay, so this restructuring itself is pretty uncommon. Generally, either pharma or a tech company could start out as a research institution, and then they go on and realize there's actually a lot of money to be made in their project. They kind of regret that first decision to start out as a nonprofit. But it needs to be pretty lucrative because it's not an easy path. Technically, they started this process way back in 2019, right? That's at least when they started to lay the groundwork. Real quick though, if you find this kind of info interesting or helpful, don't forget to like the video and follow the channel. It's free and it helps get this kind of info out there to more people. So OpenAI went through this process, and as part of it, Microsoft ended up with a 27% stake in the company. And that's a 1% majority ownership, which is important because it tells you a lot about who's pulling the strings here and who has the final say in decision making. Microsoft also got exclusive rights to integrate OpenAI's technology into its products and clouds, right? So every time you use Copilot in Microsoft Word or GitHub, or see ChatGPT running on Azure Cloud, that was part of that deal. And in return, OpenAI got the computing power and cash it needed to really scale its operations, right? Microsoft got that monopoly level advantage in embedding AI into everything that it sells. But now, OpenAI believes it can take it to the next level with a full-on IPO. And an IPO is initial public offering. Effectively, it's taking the company to the public sector, to Wall Street, for individual investors to invest in. And they're supposedly looking to ask $1 trillion for it. Let's put that trillion into perspective. If OpenAI hits that number, that would be worth more than the GDP of Switzerland, right? More than Tesla, Meta, and Netflix combined. It would effectively enter a club that only a handful of companies, things like Apple and Microsoft and Nvidia, have ever even reached. But the key difference here is that those companies earned those valuations through years and years of growth. OpenAI is looking to start there on day one. No company has ever gone public anywhere near this high. When Apple hit $1 trillion, it was already making hundreds of billions in revenue. OpenAI's rumored revenue for 2025 is, only around 5 to 10 billion. That's a 100x valuation. And that says a lot about how they're looking at the company overall. Either the ownership and market is super, super optimistic about betting on AI. The AI effectively becomes the new electricity, right? And OpenAI is going to be the grid that powers it. Or they're looking to time a bubble. And the strange thing here is also that OpenAI has exactly one product, right? Every other company with valuations anywhere near this high has several offerings, right? Diversification, which manages the risks to the shareholders. And OpenAI is reliant on one platform, which is a massive shareholder risk, effectively valuing not just the company, but the single platform itself at $1 trillion, right? Look at Apple. They have an operating system. They have computers, software, phones, whole infrastructures. OpenAI has ChatGPT. So it's not just an unprecedented IPO, it's also an unprecedented risk. And it's also going to put massive pressure on competitors like Anthropic or Google DeepMind or Meta to either partner up or risk getting buried by what is effectively looking to be a new monopoly. So this is very possibly a big inflection point for AI and AI companies right now. And I think we're going to see a lot of changes in the coming weeks and months to the industry. It's certainly telling just how invested Microsoft is in the whole AI infrastructure. I'm going to be watching this one unfold very closely. So if you found that interesting or helpful, don't forget to like the video. This is a huge story, and I'd love to get everyone's perspective on this crazy valuation in the comments. And if you'd like to see more videos on software and the tech industry, follow the channel. There'll be more coming soon.